Easy now.
Come down. Oh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you off like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke something. Try the marijuana. I was loving you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they finish change. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and a color on your lip. Gave you plenty of...
Welcome to Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael-Shawn and Christopher. You guys can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. My @ name has not changed. @ Mike Dugar, MikeDugar. Shout out to everyone who follows, likes, subscribes to our YouTube channel. Seahawks Man-to-Man is the name of the channel. That's Seahawks Man-to-Man. Man, the number 2 man. Thank you for all the love and support on there. If you're an audio listener, just stop real quick, shoot over to YouTube, hit the button, and come back. That's it. That's all you gotta do. We appreciate it. It helps us out, and we try to build the YouTube side of it. And we'll have some visual stuff for you guys too, largely during the season, but get it going in the off season as well. So thank you. Chris, go ahead and talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Twitter at CKIDD206, and that is CKid206. All
right. This is our free agency reaction podcast. We are unofficially 3 days into it. As you guys know, Monday is basically when things kick off, is when all the money gets spent. By Wednesday is really when the Seahawks get cooking, which is why we're recording today, because they made no moves basically through like Tuesday, and then Wednesday comes and they're like, all right, where's the bargains at? Which is why, as you can see, the title of the show is Frugal Free Agency. And I feel like, Chris, that's like an apt description of what the Seahawks not only have done this offseason, but usually do. You know, John Snyder, whether through his own belief, which I think is part of it, or whether through a mandate from above, whether Jody Allen or Chuck Arnold or Burt Holt or whoever, the people who cut the checks over there, maybe they just like, hey, here's your budget, make it work, go get us a championship caliber team. No, you cannot have any void years. Try to limit the dead money as much as possible. Go out there and make it shake. I don't know if the mandates are that strict. However, that seems to be how they operate. The first wave of free agency comes and John and them are in there playing Xbox or whatever. I'm playing. They work in the phones for what it's worth. From what I've gathered, not just this year but every year, they're on the phones. They're trying. They're talking to people, but it just then seems to be a lot of, oh, Damian Lewis costs what now? Yeah, have fun in Charlotte, buddy. Go over there and do your thing. Oh, wait a minute. They're paying Colby what now? Oh, okay. Yeah. See you in LA. Have fun. It sounds like a lot more of that. Some stuff, as John has alluded to, they gather at the combine, and meets with agents and, hey man, I might be able to get D-Lou like 15, 16 million a year. What y'all talking about? It's like, well, we are talking about you having a good time in North Carolina. That's what we're talking about. See you, buddy. I'll pick up the check. I don't know if it goes like that, but the Seahawks have a theme, right? And if you were someone who thought that Pete Carroll was the one controlling the free agency philosophy, that's some bad news for you. You do. It is an organizational thing that is beyond Pete. John believes, Jody believes, or Bird or Chuck, or whoever, everybody believe that this is the way to go. You chill on the first wave, prioritize retaining your own players, and if you are going to if you're going to spend money on external free agents, try to minimize the risk as much as possible while still bettering your roster. That's the general thought. I don't know how successful that strategy has necessarily been. However, we have to accept, Chris, that is the strategy. This is not a team that's going to make it rain. They're not going to be on your ticker or NFL Network flashing on the screen like, yo, Donald Duck, Scrooge, whatever dude swimming through the coins. Nah, this is not that. This is going in there. Or Chris, have we talked about I promise this won't be a long tangent, but have we talked about the documentary about the high school kids that weren't a school I can't remember the name of the documentary right now. They were the football team that wasn't a school. My man was scamming.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember.
We have talked about it. I don't know. It correlates to where you're going with your story.
It will. Trust me. I just can't remember. Anyway, it was the Bishop Sycamore documentary.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I just can't remember. Anyway, I bring that up because there is a scene in there where the guy who's in charge of the scam he tells a story about how he would feed the kids, right? Because he had them living in hotels and he was scamming for money. You know, he's basically in charge of like taking care of all these kids, right? Like he's running a fake boarding school / football team. One of the stories he told is that what he would do is during the day, he would call into the local deli, and be like, yo, I need like 20 rotisserie chickens, right? And then they would make the rotisserie chickens, and he just wouldn't pick them up. I'd let them sit there all day. And then you show up like right before the deli closed. Well, now they're marked down. They're discounted. Them chickens that might have been like $9 a pop now are going for $2 a pop. Well, then he just go in there and then buy them all. Feed the kids. Feed 20 kids with a bunch of rotisserie chickens for the low, right? I bring that up because that is essentially the Seahawks strategy. See, that's how that comes back around here. It's like John has decided that call the deli and be like, yo, I need a bunch of chickens. I need chickens for my team. My team got to eat. But I'm not trying to pay no premium prices for them rotisserie chickens. So I'll wait a couple days. And if nobody picks up them chickens, well, now them chickens is kind of like, you know, ain't got the steam coming off them no more. But we're going to still eat them, though, because it'll still fill us up. So after a couple days, when we come back for them chickens, you cut that price down in half or even, 60, 70%, buy all the chickens. That it's gonna. I need to remember the dude's name, but that's why I brought that up. That is the Seahawks are Coach Roy
Johnson. BS. I think it's BS High.
Yes,
that was the title of the
Bishop Sycamore High. Yeah, BS.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. It's all coming back to it. Yes. John Snyder is Coach Roy. There we go. That's my long-winded way of saying John Snyder is Coach Roy.
All I can think about is the McDonald's dollar menu. That cheeseburger is still a cheeseburger. I don't care if it's $1. We can get 100 of them things. We're gonna fill it up,
and you're still gonna eat. You're gonna be fed.
That's what I'm saying.
The reason I like the Roy, Coach Roy analogy is because it's like deliberate bargain shopping. Like he's still getting the same chickens as everybody else. Just like I said, the steam ain't coming off him no more. But it's still a chicken, right? It's still a chicken. It ain't expired. It's just not the same. I don't got the same sazon that the chickens had when they first got made by the deli. And there was something wrong with that in the documentary, to be very clear. But if you guys ain't watched that, definitely go watch it. One of the best docs I've ever seen. That dude is wild. But there was something wrong with it there. But that strategy can work in free agency. It's not like inherently wrong. You see other teams doing it too. I think Chris, it wasn't until just like an hour ago, the Cowboys did something. They didn't do nothing for like 3 days. It's like nobody. They didn't even keep their own dudes.
Right.
They were just like, they let Dan Quinn just take everybody. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I forget. They lost everybody. The Packers generally don't spend big. They cashed out on Xavier McKinney. Looks like they gave Josh Jacobs some funny money. But generally, they're not like a cash out team. The Colts are not a cash out team. They just keep their own guys. That's it. So it can work. These are some generally well-run-ish franchises. Those are well-run. They're not like the Jets or something like that. So even the Jets right now, they've decided we're not spending. The Jets not really cashing out, like that. They picked up a couple linemen, I think, at some reasonable prices, and they're like, yeah, that's it. So yeah, Chris. John is coming here. He got his Coach Roy on. And I've only been online a little bit the last couple of days because I'm doing the dad thing. But when I pop online, boy, are people mad about that.
But
they wanted some spending.
Fans should be used to this by now. This has been John Schneider and at the time Pete Carroll. This is what they did. They would go get guys that were first-round picks 10 years ago and hey, we're gonna bring you in and we think you make a splash. And it doesn't always work out. So don't be surprised if John Schneider brings in some first round pick from like the 20, I don't know, give me a draft, Mike, 2017.
It'd be about the 2015 draft now.
Yeah,
we're getting around 2016.
That's something he enjoys doing. He likes going back and finding those those projects. They love someone that has wasn't what they were supposed to be and bring them to the Seahawks and trying to make it work. Sometimes it pans out, but a lot of the times it fails, as you were laughing, because you could probably think of all the players that they brought in that were late first round picks, and John Steyer and Pete, like, yeah, they're going to be great in this scheme, and then they're dropping back into coverage, and people are like, what are they doing? Why are they in coverage? Shouldn't they be rushing the quarterback? A lot of that. So this shouldn't be a surprise to fans that John Schneider is nickeling and diming you and getting free agents that he sees fit. He's not going to get someone that's going to cost you $60 million for a 3-year deal. That's just not something
an external guy. He'll do that on his own guy.
Yes, excuse me, external. So not going to find the highest free agent, the best player available, and cash out and get him and be thinking, yeah, this is going to set our offensive line. We're taking this guy because we need someone that can come in and get these trenches right. That's not what they're going to do. They're going to be cheap. They're going to find guys that they can fit in the system, and they're still figuring out their system right now, because I don't know what it's going to look like come September 1st or the first preseason game, but that's what they're building it around right now. So I'm not surprised. Our fans, our listeners shouldn't be surprised. Fans, you guys should be like, yeah, we get it. Although sometimes we would want that big player, just know that John is not about to sign off on that. If anything, they might make a big trade. We saw that with Jamal Adams. They gave him first-round picks. Unfortunately, it hasn't really worked out. But on the flip side, we talked about it last week with Quandre Diggs. They gave up a 5th round, got way more than they anticipated with Quandre, and unfortunately let him go. But that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And I thought, for the most part, signing Leonard Williams was a good start. I know, Mike, that was priority 1A to the 1B, which is Jordyn Brooks. We'll get to that later. But bringing back someone who I thought was pretty much impactful since he got to Seattle, I thought that's a good move to keep him. And I was stunned that he even wanted to stay, considering how the team was looking. I can understand if he wanted to leave, but he made the decision to stay, and I think he's going to be a catalyst to try to get this defensive line back to, I don't know, average. Can we just go there?
Yeah, it hasn't been solid in a little bit. Yeah, it's been
I don't want to sit up. I don't want to sit up here and put expectations for them to be top 5 in sacks or anything, but let's just get to middle of the pack. And I think Leonard Williams is a good start with that. And then also, you get a healthy Uchenna Nwosu, who I'm sure a lot of fans are going to be excited to see, because he was a problem in the run game, and he was also a problem as a pass rusher. He just was able to throw linemen around and make plays. I'm sure if we looked up his splash plays before he got hurt, he was always around the football. And I'm looking forward to seeing him healthy. And it should be a blast to see what other pieces they put around this defensive line through the draft and free agency. As I just told you, John Schneider's going to maybe he'll call up John Clowney. He might call up Clowney again to see if he can come back. I don't know what the asking price would be, but I think if they really wanted Clowney, they can get him on a decent deal, especially considering he's familiar with Mike McDonald. Oh, I almost screwed that up. Caught myself. So that'll be an interesting development over these next few days, few weeks, to see what happens there, because Clowney is still available.
Yeah, you got Clowney could come back. There's a bunch of guys. Anyone, I think the draft they really loved was 2013 first round. I think at some point they had like 8 guys they tried from that 2013. Let me see how many guys I can remember off the top of my head. They didn't have a first round pick that year. They gave it up for Percy, but they eventually ended up getting, I want to say Dion Jordan is in that draft, DJ Fluker, Luke Chokel, Ziggy Ansah. There's a DB in there somewhere. Demarius Randall, I think, is in the first round of that draft. Am I missing anybody from that draft that they ended up signing? I don't have it in front of me.
To be honest, Geno Smith might be one that you can throw in there.
He's in the second round of that draft. I'm trying to think. It was specifically the first round. They had like 5 or 6 guys. Ziggy Ansah in that draft as well.
Was he first round?
I think he was like a top. Let me check my work here. That was my guess.
Oh yeah, Ziggy. I think he was the 5th pick.
That draft. The Seahawks later were like, dude, these guys didn't work out, but let's give them a shot. All right,
Sheldon Richardson. My fault. Sheldon Richardson. I think he was also in that draft that you might. I don't know.
I forgot Barkevious Mingo.
Oh man.
And at one point they had Chance Warmack. He was a 10th pick. Yeah, man. They had this whole class. So yeah, at one point they had Luke Jokel, Dion Jordan, Ziggy Ansah, Barkevious Mingo. That's 4 of the first 6 picks right there. The only ones they didn't eventually sign were Eric Fisher, who was the top pick, and then Lane Johnson, obviously with the Eagles. But then, yeah, also got DJ Fluker, Chance Warmack. I think Chance never actually played for them, but they did sign him. DJ Fluker, Sheldon Richardson. Let's see what else we got here. There was one more I said. I think Randall wasn't in that first round, but he was in. And then obviously guys like Geno. But yeah, man, that's pretty nuts.
Back to my point of
the top of that draft. And that draft wasn't good. Oh, Randall's in a totally different draft. Sorry, I got that one completely wrong. I think he's in like Tyler's draft. But either way, like that was just a really bad. So yes, to your point, they will find like a 2017 draft. Maybe we'll just see a bunch of guys from the first round pop up in Seahawks uniforms. But a quick rundown, mention Leonard. So here's who they got. So here's who the Seahawks have kept or signed. You got Leonard Williams, brought back 3 years, $64.5 million. Good for Leonard. Got the bag. Very few. Quietly, Leonard is excellent at getting the bag. He's excellent. Like this deal that he got, which is about $21.5 million a year or something like that. It's essentially the same deal that he signed like 3 years ago. So it's very. I think that deal was 3 years for 63. So yes, this is pretty much the same deal.
Same thing.
He got a raise. He got a raise going into age 30. That's impressive. Like we just don't see that in the NFL. Yeah, usually when guys get the deal, they have to take like a little less because they gotten older, right? I mean, that's kind of just natural in this business where athleticism is so much part of why you get paid. And no, Leonard's like, I want to get paid this at 27 and at 30, I want more. And they're like, yeah. I mean, and he's had leverage both times. He's been traded for in both instances. The Giants acquired him and then the Seahawks acquired him. So the leverage was in his favor. But still, that's pretty impressive. Got Noah Fant, 2 years, $21 million. It's about where I thought it would cost to keep Noah. Good for Noah. Brought in center Nick Harris. Used to be with the Browns, former Washington Husky. Got him for about $2.5 million. Don't have the salary numbers as we're recording currently. I'm sure they'll be out by the time this pod is out. But we don't have the salary numbers for Rayshawn Jenkins or George Fant. I imagine that neither of those would be that big. I would guess George Fant's would be around what he made last year with the Texans, which I believe was $3 million. Rayshawn Jenkins, I would imagine that's pretty low. I would guess. What did Darnell Savage get from the Jaguars? I think he got like I think it was like $7 million a year or something like that. My guess would be in that range.
3 year, $21.7 million. So roughly seven and some change. So yeah,
that would be my guess. On his deal, less than Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, whatever. I think he got like $11 million from Philly, less than that. So that would be my guess for Rayshawn. Haven't got those numbers yet. Farrell Brown, I think his deal maxes out at $4 million. Like I guess if he hits all of whatever incentives there are. So not a ton of spending. And then you look at the guys they lost, a lot of them went and got paid. Paid for the most part more than I thought Seattle would have paid for them. Like Colby, it's like 3 years, 22.5 from the Rams or something like that. Will Dissly, it's like 3 years, 14. Although I could have seen the Seahawks paying that from the Chargers. Bobby got, let's see, 8.5 or something like that. Jordyn up to $30 million on a 3-year deal. Kind of surprised the Seahawks didn't do that. D-Lou, that's 4 years, 53. I don't know if you guys listen to John does his radio show over there on Seattle Sports on Thursdays now, and he kind of dropped a nugget that when he did the show from the Combine, he was distracted talking to the host because he had just met with one of his players' agents and found out the price was going to be too high. Obviously, he didn't say who it was. I was curious when he said that. He'll probably never tell us, but I am guessing it was D-Lou. Like, I am very, very happy for D-Lou, by the way. But oh my goodness. I'm not bet your bottom dollar sound. I'm way too young to use that phrase, but I would bet that that meeting was with D-Lou's guy, and his guy said something to the effect of, "We're expecting to be in the X amount range," and John probably he probably put his thing on one of them fancy napkins and slid it across the table, and then the agent took it looked at it, balled it up, and threw it at John's nose or something like that. Because I would imagine that they were very far apart on that number. Drew Lock looks like he got $5 million from the Giants, which seems like the going rate for backup guys. And then DJ Dallas got like $8 million, 8 and some change over 3 years. I wouldn't have thought the Seahawks would pay that, particularly after drafting Kenny McIntosh. You draft Kenny because you're expecting to lose DJ, just like you draft DJ because you know you're gonna eventually lose Travis Homer. Kind of cycles out with those late round, third down back guys. So I mean, it's Chris. It's sticking to the script largely. So with the guys that they kept that they paid, the Noah one, I was very happy about that. I just was glad they kept one of the tight ends. I feel like last year they had 3 number 1 tight ends and used all of them like number 3 tight ends. Like it was like no one got to eat. There was a really clear example of there's only one ball. It just didn't work. Now, if you just give Noah all the targets for the tight end group, I feel like he's going to be used in a way that matches that salary. I was very happy to see that they decided on that. I don't think there was a wrong answer there. If you'd have kept Will, that's cool. If you'd have kept Colby, that's cool. If you'd have kept Noah, that's cool. Anyone. Just pick one. Pick Noah. Picking Noah, I thought was the right move, or at least the move I would have done. I think he's the best of the 3, the best athlete for sure. And when I'm looking at tight ends, I want the guy who's going to give me the mismatches against backers and safeties, and that guy is Noah for the most part.
Yeah, you got a couple of highlights on your Twitter, on your timeline, man, from Gino to Fant.
The reason I went back and watched I've watched some of these guys that they brought in, to these outside guys, but I went back and watched some Noah stuff because I was just like, man, he could be. I don't think many tight ends could actually be like the number 1 option on a really good offense. Like even as good as Travis Kelce is, like look at what the narrative was during the season. They need a guy. They need a number 1 receiver. They need a receiver. They need a receiver. Even after they won the championship again, it's like, what are they going to do at receiver, right? Because it's just hard for the tight end to be that guy. It really is. That's why Gronk is the best tight end in the world to me. But like, I bring that up with Noah. I don't think Noah could be that, but I think he could just be like right after that, like very similar to what Sam Laporta is to Detroit. Like their number 1 guy is Amon-Ra, that's great, but their number 2 dude is that guy, and he is solid. I think you could make a similar argument. We'll see how this works with Jordan Addison, but like Justin Jefferson is clearly the 1 in Minnesota, at least for now. And if TJ Hawkinson is like their 2, I think that's fine because he's that good to me. I think Noah is that good too. He won't get those targets in Seattle because of Lockett and JSN. But when I watch him, I'm
DK.
like, yeah, sorry, yes, and DK as well. But when I watch him, I'm like, if you gave him the ops, he would capitalize on them. And then I was also, Chris, I had forgot how good he is after the catch. I had forgot. Like, do you remember he had the one against the Giants on Monday Night Football? I had remembered that. But remember he had that one that basically iced the Cardinals game a couple years ago up the sideline in Arizona?
I'm sure if I see it, I'll remember, but that's fine.
Yeah, he catches like a ball like in the flat or something like that, rolling to Gino's right. It's in Arizona before they go to Germany. It's like the 4th quarter. They're trying to ice the game. He ends up taking it like 50 yards down the sideline. And then Ken Walker ends up scoring to essentially ice the game. But like stuff like that, I was like, oh, I forgot about that play. Like Noah can gallop a little bit. So yeah, I liked picking him because that's just the element the other guys just didn't have. If they're better blockers or whatever, that's fine. But they don't have that. Like Noah has that. He's really good athlete. Chris, did you see what I think I tweeted it? Seth Walder of ESPN was not a big fan of the Leonard Williams deal.
Yeah, I saw his grade game with C-. He didn't. You mentioned the age thing. That's kind of where he's at with it. Doesn't see the impact with that age, and I understand it. But the Seahawks are desperate. They don't really have a choice. So in this scenario, it was either you take Leonard Williams or you spend way more trying to get some other free agent out there, or you're just going to say, screw it, we're going to go into the draft and get a young guy and try to take him 16, whatever the case may be. So I disagree with his stance, but I understand why he graded it that way. I mean, at least it's passing, right?
Yeah. C-. Yeah, you can get through. I got through freshman year of college with that. Yeah. Once I realized like there was a certain, when you take you got to take your little prerequisite classes to get into whatever college not the college, but to get into like the school
Those courses,
of whatever, the school of business or the school of whatever, like you got to take just regular math, regular science. Once I realized what it was to get into like the school of journalism at Wazoo, I was like, oh, oh boy, that's easy. I'm thinking I need A's. No, you don't. You just got to get in. Before I give my thing, what grade would you give it if you disagree with Seth's grade?
I would give it
which kind of reflects some grades around the league, by the way. He wasn't the only person who felt that way.
I would give it a B+. I just think versus the market and knowing how John Schneider and his team do things in regards to spending money, they needed to bring back Leonard Williams. I know there's a couple of fans out there that didn't see the impact and weren't too impressed with him and thought, man, you can just get someone younger. And that's been a lot of people's process, is just go younger. But as you've mentioned, and as we talked about on the show, going younger doesn't mean this team gets better. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And then they look like the Washington Commanders, a bunch of young players, but no real leaders. And the talent's there, but they just don't have that leader to put them over the hump. Well, now they got a leader in Bobby, so the defense will likely be a little better, obviously. And then the Seahawks on the D-line, they have Leonard Williams, a guy that has been with the Giants. Where did he start out with the Jets? So he's been with the Jets, the Giants, and now he's with the Seahawks. He's a veteran that knows his job, and he's willing, hopefully, to help out. And they needed to secure that and have confidence that, hey, we bring in Leonard Williams, we know we're going to potentially get a guy that's going to have 8.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, that type of impact on the defensive line. Now, it's important that everyone else does their part too, because if Leonard Williams has a great season and the defense stinks, no one's going to bat an eye. No, for real. How often does it happen where the defense has one elite guy, Spoon, but the defense is just horrendous? And it works out for Spoon because guess what? He's a rookie. So everyone's like, yeah, he's young. But if Devin Witherspoon had did this at age 33, fans would have been like, yeah, I don't know if we need to bring Spoon back. He's just too old. I don't know if he can do it again. It's like, bro, he was just a all-pro, Pro Bowler, all of that. And you're not sure if you want to bring him back? That's crazy just because of his age. So it's funny to see how age really depicts a player's salary moving forward, despite what he did last season, right? Because Bobby is another example. Bobby was solid all the way around. Sure, he had games where he got picked on, but he was able to figure things out. He was able to play through it. But for whatever reason, the Seahawks went a different, well, not for whatever reason. We know why they went a different direction. But I say all that to say, I give Leonard Williams and the Seahawks that grade of a B+, just because I think they needed someone to solidify that line, the D line. And if you're not going to start with him, I don't know who the hell you plan on getting to really make a splash that, hey, we are trying to fix this defensive line.
Yeah, I think I agreed with Seth's sentiment for sure. I think I quoted what he said was, and again, we're not just picking on Seth. There's a lot of people. I read some national grades. I didn't feel like quote tweeting them all. I really didn't. I respect his stuff and some other guys who I know are like watching the film and crunching the numbers too. I agreed with the sentiment that like he is paid. He's a very good player who's paid like an elite player. And that's usually what Seattle tries to avoid for the most part. They try to, like, if you're going to pay a guy, usually pay the guys who are like the elite, the Pro Bowlers, the all pros at their positions if you can acquire them. The thing that I find interesting, not even just the age, with Leonard's position, not even just him, but his position is it's so obvious to see the limitations of that impact of the position. Like, even if you are really good, you just see how much other stuff needs to happen around you for the defense to be good. It's so obvious to see, perhaps maybe more than any other position, because then you look up and it's like, wow, this guy has this many sacks, or this guy has this, or he has these numbers, or he's good. And it's like, man, we can't stop the run. Or man, our pass rush isn't good. It's like, wow, what the hell? Like you can see it fairly easily. Particularly, I think where you see it is with interior defensive linemen. Because let's say you have a really good edge rusher, right? And they know, hey, we can't block this guy one-on-one. We got Myles Garrett. We got to double team him. We got to account for him wherever he lines up. It can tend to like open up other opportunities, because in a perfect world, you double team that edge, or excuse me, in a perfect world, you block that edge, singled up. That way, during a 4-man rush, you have 5 blockers. The offense is in the green. Whereas what happens when you double team an edge, well, it throws things off. Well, now we got to dedicate 2 guys to Miles or Noah or JJ Watt or actually, yeah, JJ is the other Watt, TJ. You got to dedicate that, throws the math off, and now that helps everyone else out. This is all in theory, of course. With the defensive tackle, you're already planning to double team those guys usually, so it's when it happens, it's just like, all right, everybody else get to winning. And if they're not, which is what we saw late in the year, in particular when Boye cooled down, it's like, we can't get to the passer right now. And again, this is not even really Leonard's fault. But that's part one where I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see the skepticism. The second part of the reason is, like you said, how you opened your answer. You said the Seahawks are desperate. They are. They spent money on this guy, or they spent the draft capital on this guy. And I think that's a dangerous game to play sometimes. Like, yeah, are we paying him because we think he's worth this, or because we already spent the second round? Like that's for real. That's the math. And even John mentioned it when I asked about Leonard in the combine. He's like, yeah, I mean, you spent the second rounder on him. You want to keep him around, just like kind of Jamal. He mentioned Jamal in that answer. And yes, while I agree, you can't. That can only weigh so much to me, because when you're paying a guy because you think he's going to produce at a certain level, not because you already spent this on him. You spent the second rounder on Sheldon too, and you punted Jermaine Kearse out of here. You got to the end of the year and realized we don't want this guy. So you let him walk. And you know what? That was the right move. You spent what was that? 3rd round pick and Barkevius and Jacob Martin. You spent stuff on Clowney, right? You got to the end of the year, you're like, we don't want this guy. At least not at the price point that he wants. So you let him walk. That ended up being the right answer, right? So like that you don't always have to pay a guy just because you're desperate or they got the leverage, or because you already spent this, you already allocated these resources. Sometimes it's like, yeah, we don't think this guy's worth it. And I do think, whether you even disagree with that stance, everyone listening, we can all probably agree that factored in for sure to their thinking of like, dang, we didn't already spent this. Might as well keep him. And I'm like, I don't know, John. That's a dangerous game to play for me. I think Leonard's a really good player, but that process, if that's part of it, I don't know if John will admit it again after signing him, but yeah, if he does, that's a dangerous one for me. I think you should just pay guys who think are worth it. Who cares if you gave up 3 first-round picks for a guy, you get him in your building and he sucks, let him walk. Don't pay him because you spent 30 first-round picks. For real, don't pay him because you spent the first-round picks on him. If you think he stink, then let him go. Otherwise, you're just doubling down on the mistake. Right? That's basically the short version of that. So I thought Seth's thing, that's probably why I shared his on my timeline, is because I thought his was the most interesting, because it kind of factored in some of that as well. And the other part is, Chris, I think this is a situation where not drafting well at a spot hurt Seattle. They've had opportunities to draft this position. They could have taken Jalen Carter. They could have taken some other guys in the draft. A guy who went to I think Pittsburgh. It was one of the guys that went to the Raiders. I want to say, like, they had some options. They had some guys that they liked. Even in previous drafts, they could have done that too, and they didn't. So now they're sitting there still years later, kind of chasing the ghost of Malik McDowell, trying to find this 3 technique who can get to the passer. And it's like, if you draft well, you don't need to give anybody $20 million. You have to do that. So yeah, I thought the Leonard deal was the most fascinating. That's why we're spending the most time talking about it. It's their biggest deal, obviously, but I do. It's been interesting to see how people have looked at it. I thought about it for a long time the other day, and I was like, yeah, you had to keep him probably because of the factors that I mentioned. But I was thinking to myself, what if I didn't know how much they spent on him, and his people came in here and said, hey, we want $21.5 million. I might have looked at them and told them, have a nice day. We'll validate the parking, but have a nice day. Perhaps, because at that price, Chris, I feel like we got to treat it like how people treat Jamal and some of these other guys. Now I need you to go make some Pro Bowls. Big Cat, now I need you to make some Pro Bowls, make some All Pros. Flirt with a double-digit sack season. That's hard for a defensive tackle, I know. But flirt with it. I don't even know if he's flirted with that before. I'd have to look that up.
Would you say, Mike, double-digit sacks?
Yeah, I don't think he has. Oh, he did once. He did once. He had 11 and a half.
in 2020. And to be honest, with the Seahawks and those, how many games he played? 10 games. He had 4 sacks and what? 9 tackles for loss. So he was on his way to potentially 8 sacks with a full season, obviously healthy. So he has the potential to hit double-digit sacks. And I mentioned, I think, 11 tackles for loss or 10.5. That's definitely something that he can definitely do. We will see if healthy, if he can actually hit those numbers and be even better if not. So I think it's there. It'd be nice to have some pieces around him, as you mentioned. There's 5 dudes on the D line. Two are doubling.
And that gets us to some of the other stuff that they did not do. Chris, they ain't got no linebackers.
Yeah,
ain't no linebackers on the team right now, man.
I don't know how they did not get Jordyn Brooks, because I remember I talked about the improvement on Cody Barton. Now I get it. Cody was not on the same level as Jordyn Brooks, but from week 1 up until week 17, Cody had been improving. That's what Jordyn has done every year. He came in, okay, he's really fast on the sideline. You know, he's running everywhere, but he didn't understand what he needed to do his role. Second year, he got better. Third year, fourth year, it's like, oh my goodness. Jordyn, as Mike alluded to last week, is really good at covering the over routes. So when wide receivers are in that, if they're running trip formation and the wide receiver is doing a crossing pattern across the field and they're playing zone, your linebacker who's going to be on the field, if they're playing nickel or dime, usually you have one linebacker out there, has to pick that up in zone coverage. And what is Jordyn pretty good at? He's pretty good at following and traveling across the field and making a play or being right there. That's going to be hard to just, we'll find that in the draft. That's as crazy as it sounds, that's not as easy as it is to find and have a guy be competent and be able to do that every Sunday, right? And then another thing is how big Jordyn Brooks is. Mike was telling me off wax how this draft class with linebackers, it ain't all that. So not only are you not going to get another Jordyn Brooks, most likely, you don't have Bobby Wagner. Like right now, you probably are you really trying to get Devin Bush back, I'd imagine. I feel like that is probably no, Mike, you're not.
I don't know what they're trying to do. I would not do that. But yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do.
So you're gonna have a brand new linebacker room, pretty much, is what you're going with.
I mean, that's what they're doing. It looked like. I mean, I wouldn't have done that. I probably would. So my thing is, I probably would have done like what the Rams did with their interior O-line. Like the Rams just was like, and the Panthers and the Rams, for reasons that I understand, were just like, we're gonna pay guards because that's what we need to make this thing go. Yeah. The Panthers need that because their quarterback is 5'9". Right, so they're just like we can't have people. We need to give Bryce room to see. We can't have nobody getting pushed further. I don't know if Dave Canales or their new GM. I think their GM is Dan Morgan, former Seahawks guy. I don't know if they've come out and said that, but that's clearly what's going on over there, and that's fine. They need that because their quarterback is all right. So they need big, strong guards, and if you got to pay for that, pay for that. I get it. The Rams are just like, we're going to run right at you now. Not an outside stretch zone, whatever team now. We are going to run at you. So we need fat boys. So they said, we're going to pay millions and millions of dollars for fat boys. And they did that.
Yeah.
And it's a reason that makes sense to me. I would have taken a similar approach with the linebackers. I would have said, the great defenses in the league right now are playing too high and have linebackers who can do everything. They are fast. They can come downhill and take on pulling guards, and they can turn and run, like you mentioned with JB. Not the Rams. The Niners had those. Yep. The Ravens had that. I'm missing a really obvious team. This is going to bug me. I can't think off the top of my head. But the Chiefs. Chiefs had like 4 guys who could do that. Gay, Bolton, Tranquil. I feel like everybody on the damn Chiefs linebacker room was just like that dynamic. Even the Bills quietly have that too. Milano, when he's healthy, forget the other guy they got. He's good up there too. And then even the young boy, they got Tyrell Dotson, who I think is a free agent. But anyway, like I feel like that's something that if you're going to devalue the safeties and but still play a too high world, I feel like you need those guys. It unlocks so much. I would have said, Jordyn, come on. Patrick Queen, you come on too. I need both of y'all.
I'm stunned they didn't do that. It's just crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, here's the reason that I think you need both of them is because in both of their cases, if you look at their careers, when they were playing with someone else who was like that, they then became like that as well. You go ask some Ravens fans, Queen didn't really take off until Roquan showed up. Like he was like decent, but Roquan showed up. I think that was the middle of the 2022 season, turned up. Same thing with JB. JB was at his best playing with someone else like Bobby, who was like that. When he was no longer next to someone who was like that, he wasn't like that. He had his worst year. By his own definition, his worst year. Would he have this year? A better year. Playing next to somebody who's like that. So I don't know. I really don't think it's kind of like calling them Robins to Batmans is a little unfair, but you guys get the sentiment when I say that. You got to put guys like Queen and JB with someone else who's like that. I wouldn't have just put JB next to a rookie, nor would I put Queen next to a rookie. I need both of them to be together and be like that for real and then turn up. So that's why I would have just been like, hey, if we're going to pay a bunch for linebackers, we're going to pay a bunch for linebackers. We're not paying any tackles. We're not paying any corners. We're not paying any safeties anymore. And we're only paying one edge rusher. So we can splurge a little bit at the position, a non-premium joint, which is why I was okay with them doing that at safety. Because you can do that. Every team has top-heavy players. I don't really care where it is, as long as the dudes that you're paying at the top are really good, whether that's tight end, guard, center, whatever. So I thought they could have did it. Chris, they got neither guy. They're gonna have to run tryouts. They're gonna have to. I don't know. Like I don't know how they're gonna figure this out, but they're gonna have to maybe sign Jamal back at 20 pounds heavier. I'm not sure for real, because this. I can understand maybe not cashing out for that Queen contract. He got like 3 years and 41 mil from the Steelers. I can see that if you're just like, all right, if we're going to lose Bobby, maybe we don't pay up for Jordyn because thinking like, hey, we do need someone to run with Jordyn. I can kind of get through all that, Chris. I can. But I can't get to the point where I'm just like, we're going to go into the draft with John Radigan and Patrick O'Connell and Drake. And I think Drake Thomas, but I'm pretty sure Drake broke his leg. I don't. Am I imagining that? I feel like I was seeing people post stuff of who's on the team and mentioning Drake Thomas, and in my head, I'm like, didn't I see Drake break his leg? And I'm not talking about no ankle sprain, but I really remember seeing him break his joint. I just can't remember. I'll look it up anyway. But yeah, I didn't think we'd get to that point.
Yeah, he broke his leg. He broke it in November. I don't know how long it would take to heal. It's been December, January, February, March. So what's that? 4 months?
Yeah, I guess he could be fine. Quandre broke his in January, and played. But yeah, I don't know, man. He was already like not playing very often anyway.
Well, this linebacker room, the names you mentioned, people are probably wondering, can you repeat those names? Because I'm not familiar with their game. And that's okay, because these are guys that didn't play, were picked up later in the season. That's just how the cookie crumbled when you have Bobby Wagner, Jordyn Brooks, Devin Bush. That's what you have. Now you don't have Jordyn Brooks or Bobby Wagner. Devin Bush is still out there, and Mike laughed at me when I brought up his name. So with that being said, the Seahawks have some serious work to do. Not getting Jordyn.
Can't do the Bush thing again, man.
Okay, fair enough. I thought watching film that when he was out there, okay, he was okay. He wasn't that bad. You know it because you watched the film.
He was. You're right. It's the Steelers game that got me. I wasn't.
The whole defense was bad against the Steelers. They couldn't tackle. They didn't want to tackle. I don't even know if they wanted to play that game. No,
you're right. It wasn't. He wasn't the only one.
Yeah, it was a team.
Honestly,
I feel you.
Most of the people who played bad in that game are not here. So
there's that.
I guess we all saw the same. Although Jordyn missed that game, which is why Devin played so much. But yeah, I'm not. And Chris, right now I'm looking at the list of free agent linebackers. I am not. I mean, is Isaiah Simmons moving that needle for you?
At this point, the Seahawks got to bring somebody in. Are you really about to draft someone? And as we talked about it off wax, Chris, the linebacking room isn't all that for the draft. So now you're banking on this draft that isn't all of that talented with linebackers, but Isaiah Simmons is available. So what do? Do you take a veteran that could probably come in, get the scheme down, maybe have some impact? Or do you go with a young rookie, 21, 22 years old? We don't know what his ceiling is, but my goodness, we're going to take a stab at him. It's literally, it's like Madden. When you take a player and you don't know about his dev trait. Is he going to be a superstar? Is he going to be normal? What's his progression going to look like? That's the mode we're in right now. The Seahawks have all these names, and they have a question mark with their abilities. Are they going to be a superstar? Or they're going to be just a regular player that, has a good 7-year career, which isn't bad, 5-year career, whatever the case may be. The Seahawks are trying to find that superstar. They're trying to find that guy they can bring in that can transcend the linebacking room, that can be in the conversation for defensive rookie of the year, whatever the case may be. They're looking for that. Can they find it? Jordyn Brooks was the last one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that they can't find it, I guess. It's just that I view everything in the context of a team trying to contend, and I think like they did it before with Bobby. Like they went into the 2012 season trying to contend, right? Got Bobby, and they're like, we're going to start this rookie 2nd-round pick in the middle of this defense that has multiple Pro Bowlers on the back end. Like at that point, BB had made the Pro Bowl, Earl, Cam had made the Pro Bowl. So like they had guys, and they were like, we're going to trust this Bobby Wagner kid to figure it out. We're going to move KJ right, and figure it out. And they got it. So, I mean, you can do it. It's just a little harder. I also think at that time, college matched up a little bit better with what the pros are looking for. Whereas now I feel like there's a little bit of a disconnect. I do think there's some guys who are still like old school ground and pound linebackers who can like still turn and run a little bit, but just like, I mean, we watched the film. You guys see the games too. Linebackers are in tough spots. The best offenses in the league are the ones that make life hard on the linebackers, particularly in this division. This division really encapsulates that better than any. If you want to play linebacker and inside linebacker against Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, better have your big boy pants on because they're going to make life hard for you. They are. Does Tyrell Dodson of the Bills move you? How about
Mike? At this point, man, Simmons is probably numero uno on my list. He was up there at number 1, so to take him if he's available still.
What about Devin White? Devin White, maybe Tampa.
Why isn't he picked up? I haven't watched a lot of. I
couldn't. There's some guys out there who I'm like, why isn't? I mean, even Quandre, Devin.
Yeah, I'm shocked Quandre ain't got a job yet. I thought he would definitely land somewhere, but maybe he's looking for the right fit. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. He don't want. He probably don't want to go somewhere where they rebuilding or something. So
he said he wants to win. I remember seeing that tweet.
Oh, he did. Yeah. So I mean, I feel him on that. I think like Xavier Howard is another one. I think who's still out there. I'd go sign him if I was somebody. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, the list is pretty thin. I know some people asked who we would want to sign. I'm looking at it, Shaquille Leonard, Zach Cunningham.
Oh, hang on. Shaquille Leonard. That man's like 30.
No. He used to be Darius. Leonard. Changed his name. Remember that? Dude from the Colts.
They got to stop doing that.
Well, I think he anyway, we don't got to explain why he changed his name. But he had a reason that was justifiable. Like it's his name. He can get called whatever he wants, So
if he's, coming off that injury though, that's the scary part. Like he missed an entire season.
No, he played last year. He played with the Eagles.
Well, the year prior, but he didn't. There was no. He wasn't the same as what I'm getting at. I know he's only 28, so obviously best years are still available. But when he was healthy, he was top 5 linebackers in the league. Like he was one of them ones. And now that injury really set him back. So you know what? That's probably a guy that John Schneider might actually go out and no, for real.
No, you're right. You're right. You don't know you're right about that.
Now I could be wrong. This dude can go out and get someone we never heard of, and then we'll be right at that too. So keep an eye out for Shaq Leonard if he's still available. It's just tricky just because of his health. I know he played last season, but he wasn't the same player, and that's obvious, guys. Jamal Adams, the same boat, right? Had a really bad injury. He never really got his feet underneath him, and you saw that. And that might have been this. I didn't watch a lot of film on the Eagles and see how Shaq was doing, but I know impact-wise.
It was bad. It was bad. I can tell you right now. The Eagles' defense was bad.
Well, no, yeah.
It was bad. It was bad up the spine. It was bad, safeties and inside line. I don't think they kept any of their inside linebackers. I think the Eagles and the Seahawks, it seems, are trending towards playing defense with no inside linebackers. They're about to do some revolutionary stuff schematically.
Whoa. The Cowboys did it. They had no linebackers. They brought.
That's true.
Them boys is out there getting destroyed in the run game.
What's his name? Curse. It was like J-Ron or Jayon Curse.
Jay Curse. Just call him Jay Curse.
I feel like he was there. think he was like their heaviest guy, and he was probably like 220.
Yeah, they had
they lost some guys too. I think they lost
the injuries. No, you're right. Yeah.
But after a while, Dan Quinn was just like, "Yo,
screw it.
We're gonna play dime
the entire game,
man, and that's it. And we need our defensive linemen to be studs. And to their credit, they
did that.
Yes. They had several dudes up front who were dogs for real. I don't know how many of them they kept, but yeah, no, I think the Eagles and Seahawks right now are about to just play linebackerless ball. I mean, hey, it'd be something teams ain't ready for if that's the goal. I don't know, man. I feel I'm very wary of that. Also, with the last thing on linebackers, why I'm a little concerned about it too, particularly because some of these numbers that guys got weren't that high. Like Blake Cashman, who I liked, got like 3 years, like $8.5 million a year or something like that. Drew Tranquil stayed with the Chiefs, so maybe not throw him in there, but he got like $19 million. Willie Gay, another guy from the Chiefs, who he left. He went to the Saints, got like $5 million, I think. So it's not like just big numbers out here, because if I can see why the Seahawks, for instance, didn't want to spend on guards. These guards got paid. When I saw that Robert Hunt contract, I said, yo, is he about to catch passes too? That's a bag, for real bag. And I can see why the Seahawks were like, we're not doing that. But these linebacker contracts are pretty doable, so I'm very little worried about that, because you also need your linebacker to call the plays. So
Green dot, hello.
You play caller. And from what I've seen from Mike McDonald, he really likes the idea of like the illusion of complexity, where you can show one thing, but really there's like 10 variations of what you can theoretically be. That takes a lot of practice and repetition, and preferably people who are familiar with your scheme, and preferably veterans as well. At least guys have been in the league a couple of years. Maybe don't got to be like 8-year guys. So yeah, Chris, I'm a little worried about that spot here, because also I don't want them to be in a spot where they have to take a linebacker with their first pick, because they don't want to roll out Drake Thomas on the broke leg, because that's kind of where we're heading. I'm pretty sure he broke his leg against the Ravens. Now that I'm remembering this, I just remember him having this huge brace on that looked like some Transformer stuff. I remember thinking, oh, his stuff's broke for sure. And I just kind of kept walking. I just remember thinking, whoever that is, because I didn't really remember what he looked like at the time. I was like, whoever that is, his thing is broke for sure. And now I'm remembering. I think it's him. I'll look it up. But yeah, I'm a little worried. It is? Okay. I'm a little worried about the linebacker spot. Right. Not even a little bit. I'm a lot worried, actually. I'm a lot. I'm at like, at a 1 to 10, I'm at like a 9. On the words.
I can't blame you, man. They didn't bring back. I can't get the words out. They didn't bring back one of their best linebackers in Jordyn Brooks. That point blank, and that's obvious. It's simple. When I saw the news, I was thinking, oh my goodness. And actually, it's funny. I was talking to a reporter, and I asked him. I said, "You think they're going to bring Jordyn back?" And he was like, "No." I talked to Jordyn, and he talked to him after the Arizona game, and to that point, they had zero talks with him about bringing him back. Like, they didn't talk to him at all. Like, Jordyn was like, Seahawks have said nothing to me about it. Now, obviously, that might have been because they knew that they were firing Pete Carroll and they didn't want to put him in that awkward situation. But for the team not to go to that player and say, hey, we're going to move on from Pete, keep that in-house, but we want to figure out a way to keep you. What can we do? To not have that type of conversation with Jordyn is malpractice. I'll just throw that out there. I think that's a key component to this defense. He would definitely be next in line to obviously call the plays. He knows the system, and I think with Mike coming in, would be able to familiarize himself with the new system. And not bringing him in, I think, is just, I don't know how you don't do that. So I'm right there with you, Mike. If you want to panic, the panic button, hit the panic button now. Alarms are sounding. They ain't got no linebackers. Last but not least, the safeties. Let go of Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs, but fear not. Rayshawn Jenkins is coming to town. 30 years old. Mike, I don't know if you've got any chance to watch anything on him. I haven't. I looked up the stats. They're not eye-popping. In my head, I'm thinking you could have just paid Quandre or restructured. You could have done a bunch of things. The Seahawks decided, no, we're just bringing, I don't know, Rayshawn Jenkins. Thoughts on that deal before we get to Twitter questions?
Yeah, that was my general thought. As you guys know, and I've said this on the show, I think I said this on the last show, anybody can be replaced. Like I'm fine with you walking to the locker room or you sit there as your front office, your head coach, and you're like, hey, we need to get rid of such and such player. I think you can say that with, and you can even do that with Mahomes if you want, right? Like I don't think any player is not in that space. You can do that with anyone. The question that you always have to ask after that is, all right, cool. We get rid of that guy. What are we going to do? That's it. It just has to be that. And I think you can literally any player, bro. Aaron Donald, Mahomes, Justin Jefferson, whatever, right? Like I don't care who it is. So if you're like, all right, we're about to get rid of this Quandre cat. Okay, cool. All right, that's what you want to do. What are we going to do? It's like, hey, well, we want to get somebody younger in there at a different price point. Okay, that's the name of the NFL. You had the 7th oldest defense last year. I can hear you on that. Cool. All right, what are we gonna do? We're about to sign Rayshon Jenkins. Okay, well, time out, guys. I thought we was in the youth movement here for a second. Well, Rayshon the same age as Quandre. I'm pretty sure maybe like a year older, I think. I forget.
Let me pull it up for you.
I think Rayshon turning 30 and Quandre's birthday was in January. I don't know how old he turned in that, but still, it's a negligible difference in the grand scheme of things. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm missing something. Let me go watch Rayshon. And I've been watching him a little bit because I think his visit was reported like 2 days ago. So I've had time to actually go back and watch. I'm like, all right, it feels like I'm watching Jamal with dreads, minus the pass rush with a little bit more athleticism, which is like, okay, that's fine. But again, I view all of their moves through the lens of y'all trying to contend. I just don't see it. He actually reminds me a lot of Julian too, in this sense. It's like, all right, you guys have seen Julian now for a full year, so you guys will get where I'm going with this. Julian is like good at a bunch of different stuff. It's fair to say he's like good coverage, goodish tackler, goodish ball skills. Like he's just good at stuff, right? That's probably the general way to describe him. Rayshon is too. Rayshon's like good at stuff. He's a good at tackler. He's really fast, actually. For like, especially turning 30 or whatever.
Yeah, he just turned 30 in January.
No, Rayshon's birthday, I feel like a little later.
No, it's January. I just looked it up.
It's January? Oh, okay,
yep.
You're right. Okay, thank you. So you got him. He's pretty fast. So I like that. He's like good at stuff. Tackles, decent ball skills. He had a couple interceptions last year. I think he even had a sack. But I think and I understand with the Jamal release, it's fine. Injuries, I understand. Quandre, the thing that I was like, replacing him is going to be tough because he had a skill he was elite at. I thought the elite middle fielder, both in filling concepts out and hawking the ball. And I still think that. I don't think that's like a skill that's going to go away for a little bit. It's going to be like Bobby in tackling. Bobby's going to be 75 years old. He's going to be able to fit a B gap, bro, because he's just not going to go away. It's the same thing if you watch Jerry Rice run a route. Jerry Rice be running routes in full suits before this broadcast, looking like he can still go out there and blow by a safety on a post route. Like it's crazy. I think Quandre is very similar. He's going to be able to hawk the passes till he dies, right? So that's where I saw the Rayshon stuff, and Rayshon's fine. Like I said, he's good at a bunch of stuff, and I was like, okay, that's fine, I guess. But it just puts you in a place, I think, where you're gonna have a bunch of guys who are just good at stuff, particularly as it pertains to our linebacker discussion too, and it bleeds into, I think, even your front line. You have a bunch of guys who I think are just good at stuff, like Leonard, like we talked about a little bit. You can even throw Jay Reed in there too. Well, I think Jay Reed has the potential to be a really good pass rusher. But either way, like Chris, would you say it's fair to say that they're 4 edge rushers, DT, Derek Hall, Boye, and Chenna? They're all good at stuff. They're all good at stuff. I don't think anyone we just named has like a super elite trait.
I know Daryl Taylor needs to show it because he's had some.
I think DT has elite speed, but it doesn't really, like you said, it doesn't always translate to the pass rush production, at least not consistently. Spoon has elite traits. Spoon has elite speed, route recognition, tackling. That's like an elite player. And I think Reek too. I think Reek has elite speed, and his ball skills are really good. So like they have a couple guys with like elite stuff, but I think if you're gonna get to the point where you're gonna contend and just for the division, forget like a Super Bowl or whatever, just win the division. I think you're gonna need guys who are like elite at some things. Even if the trade-off is elite at this thing, but not as good at insert other thing. I feel like they need that still. Not just this doesn't just pertain to Rayshawn, but he's what made me think of this idea. Like Julian's good at a bunch of stuff. Trey Brown's good at a bunch of stuff. Rayshawn's good at a bunch of stuff. Chenna is like probably the perfect example. It's like a good power guy and a good speed guy, but like neither one is like super elite. He's just like really good at things, which is fine if you want to just be a good team. For real, if you get a bunch of guys who are good at stuff, you're just going to be a good team. Whereas I think even on offense, they have some elite trait guys. Like I think JSN is an elite route runner. I think DK is an elite deep threat. I think Tyler's like an elite body control tracker guy. I think Ken has multiple elite traits. Jesus, particularly athleticism. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to run down the whole offense. Gino has some really good accuracy, like elite accuracy, I would say. So you have it on offense. I feel like on defense, you're just going to be good. Now, good would be an upgrade from the last couple of years. But you know what I mean? Chris is like, being good is like
you'll be second or third in the NFC West again.
Also, if you're just good, I feel like you're you're an injury or two away from being bad.
So then why get rid of Pete then? Here we go.
Yeah, that's see, we could do a whole different pod on that. But the Rayshawn signing, when I already watched him a little bit because I watched the Jags. I don't know why I do. They're one of the teams I watch. Them, the Lions, the Jets. I just watch random teams a lot. The Ravens. So yeah, when I watched him, I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, this guy's good at a bunch of stuff. It's like, all right, that's mostly of the defense. There's the guys who are like good at a bunch of stuff, which is fine if you just want to be good. If you want to be great, you're gonna need some guys with some elite traits. So hopefully they find that in the draft because I don't see it on the roster right now, and I don't see any linebackers. So it's really not in a good spot.
Well, I don't know what else to say after that. That was just no linebackers. It's gonna be fun for you to cover this team, Mike. I'll tell you that.
Well, they'll be interesting. Everything's new now, so it's like,
yeah,
that the intrigue of them having a new coach and all that. That'll be like, that'll buy me like a year. If they're not interesting in the year 2, though, I'm like, oh damn, let me try to go get a national job or something.
Well, look, we got some Twitter questions that we want to get to. We thought, you know what? We haven't done it in a while. Last episode, it was just Mike and I rapping back and forth. So now we will give our listeners a chance to ask us a few questions, and we will answer them. We have a couple. Mike, are you ready to get going with those?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. Forgive me. I don't remember which one you said you want to go with first, but
okay.
We will, since we finished our conversation on linebackers, we'll go with, this one is from Matt at Hobo Loco Man 69. Wow, what a name.
That is a crazy name.
It really is. But shout out, Matt. Given the state of the linebackers, which we just discussed, was letting Bobby walk again a mistake?
Yeah, I think the thing, it really just comes down to the succession plan. Like I mentioned before, it does. I think the Seahawks have a pretty poor track record, and some of this was out of their control, but they knew at some point they have to get rid of the Legion of Boom era guys, and they had a poor succession plan for that, with the exception of maybe thinking that they could replace Sherm with Shaquille. That was otherwise it did not go great. I guess replacing KJ with Jordyn, I guess, was like generally okay too. The problem was Jordyn needed another guy next to him, and trying to get that with Cody just didn't work. So replacing Sherm, they ultimately replaced Sherm with like Trey Flowers, which didn't work. We tried to replace Bobby with like Cody Barton, didn't work. They essentially swapped like Cliff for like Frank. So that one actually that panned out okay, pretty decent. But like couldn't replace Earl until you traded for Quandre. Never replace your strong safety until you traded for Jamal, and then you see how that goes. So I bring all that up to say it's a mistake if you don't really have a good plan for a replacement. And as we just talked about, it does not seem like they do. There's time. It's not over. It's just technically the first day of free agency. But it's not looking good, folks. It's not looking good. It's not looking good right now at that spot, replacing Bobby. And I bring up their track record because that's how you get the benefit of the doubt from me. I think we mentioned this on the last show. I believe in their ability to find tight ends. I do. They've done it. I actually even believe in their ability to find linebackers. But, like, I don't trust them to find a center, for instance, right? You know, even this Nick Harris guy weighs like 295 pounds. We've seen the Seahawks with these small centers. It can work, but we've seen it. And
it don't work. Don't do that.
You guys you've lived in this post-Max Unger world if you're listening to this show. And I feel like that's all that needs to be said. You guys, you know how that's looked since Max, right? So, yeah, I feel the same way about Bobby. You're going to let him go and then do what now? All right, well, we'll see. We tried that once, and you brought him back. It was like that scene with the Avengers. It was like, see what happened with Thanos was like, see, I came right back to me. It's basically what Bobby was on last year. So are they going to be on that again? It looks like it. We'll see. Maybe Mike McDonald can figure that out.
No, I hear you, man. The linebacker one got me stuck. But the quote you're thinking of from Thanos was when he said, "You couldn't live with your own failure." Mm-hmm. Where did that bring you? Back to me. So that'll be funny if Bobby drops that quote tweet or something on the timeline when the Seahawks are like, "Hey, bud, why don't you come back here for one more swing at it?" But nonetheless, I don't want to get on the linebacker train too much. But so who'd they draft? Bobby, that was good. Let's see. Who'd they draft in 2000? They drafted linebacker in 14?
Yeah, I think Kevin Pierre-Louis, I think, was in that draft. At that time, though, they weren't really trying to replace.
That's true. So I guess the first time they tried to replace was what, Cody? That might have been their.
I would say the 2017 draft is when it felt like they were trying to get contingency plans for some of those guys. 2016 was when they were trying to replace Marshawn, which makes sense because he retired. So they were like, they drafted 3 running backs in that draft because they were like, we don't have beast mode. And I think the best one was Alex Collins, rest in peace. But then 2017, where it was like they drafted 4 DBs. They drafted Malik McDowell so they could eventually replace Mike B. So like they put it in motion. They even drafted a center, and then Justin Britt, which was kind of weird. But the succession plan was in place. You know, even drafted Nas Jones in that draft as well. So they were drafted a couple of receivers, I think at least one in Amara Darbo, with Doug coming towards, I think, the back end of his deal, I think, or the middle of his deal. So that's when I really think the succession plans got rolling. 2017, 2018, and 2019 drafts, and they just failed across the board for the most part.
So in 2019, they took Cody. That really didn't pan out. But then the following
BBK.
year, oh yeah, I forgot about BBK.
And then took Shaquem in 2018 and started him week 1.
I knew Shaquem wasn't going to be like the person that replaces Bobby. That I just didn't. I saw him more as a pass rusher, but he was just small.
Well, they didn't have him pass rushing. You're 2.
We figured that out, didn't we? And then they took Jordyn Brooks, and that worked. So I guess they don't have like the biggest sample size for it. So I would defer to Mike's point that they do okay at drafting linebackers. All right, we did the exercise. We're good. This next question, we'll stick with the linebackers. This is from Michael Myers Jr. Why do you guys think the Seahawks passed on Jordyn Brooks and Geno Stone, safety, obviously, with both of them getting reasonable deals?
The Jordyn one, I think, goes back to what I said earlier about Jordyn needing to have a guy next to him. I think that's part of it. Also, that could be part of just Mike McDonald being like, I don't need that guy. I don't know how much influence he has over the roster in that way, but that could be part of it. The Geno Stone one was interesting. I haven't done a full deep dive on Geno Stone. I do remember watching him in real time, though, thinking, okay, he gets a lot of interceptions. I think he might have had the most in the league or something, first or second. It was a lot. And then I remember watching the Ravens late in the year, like December, and then their playoff run. I was like, where's Geno Stone? Like, he was in during the season for, I think Marcus Williams is who got hurt. And then by the end of the year, he was like a sub-package guy. And I was like, it's like that Cardi B joint. It's like, that's suspicious. That's weird. And I was like, that's not tracking for me. And then come to find out, he just was like, just not in the rotation or just not in the full-time rotation. That was a little alarming for me because teams usually, like, if a guy's balling for real, they'll just keep him in, right? And they're just like, hey, dude, who's coming back? We'll work you in or something like that. So for Mike McDonald to be like, yeah, go grab some bench, come in and like nickel or dime or something like that, or however they were rotating, I was thinking like, it's giving me like a Julian Levish type of vibe there, which is not like bad, but it made me. It was one of those where I was like, let me go watch the film, and I've been busy doing other stuff, so I haven't had time. I told myself I would watch the film if they signed him. Obviously, they didn't, so I'm not going to. But that was a red flag for me to be like, or at least put my antennas up. Maybe not red flag, but I was like, if this dude was balling, why he not playing in the playoffs? For us, it's simple. You know, you don't usually see that with someone who's like balling for real. So it's not like he didn't play at all, but go look at the snap counts. They're all public. They dropped once Marcus Williams came back. And Marcus Williams is good, but like, again, if someone's balling for real, you would leave him in. At least you would think you would leave him in. So I wasn't totally surprised at that. I was just surprised that they settled in for Jenkins. That was all.
This next one is from Noah_253. With Bobby gone, are the Seahawks in for a total rebuilding year?
Yeah, it feels that way, but just every conversation I've had with people there is like, nah, they want to contend. They just think they can do it a different way.
That's fair.
It feels a little bit kind of Rams-ish from last year, where the Rams, they felt like everyone else felt like they're about to rebuild, and then Sean McVay, put down the Vodka-tonics and was like, okay, how can I get these guys back to? How can we get right? And it really just turned into, we just need to teach a little bit more because our team's not veteran. We got a bunch of young dudes, and they're like, guys, let's get back to the fundamentals a little bit. Let's get back to teaching a little bit more because our guys are so young. My colleague Jordan Rodriguez done a great job detailing all this, which is how I know. And that's how, things worked out. The Packers, pretty similar. It's like, okay, we got a bunch of young dudes. Let's teach them. Let's teach them what we need them to know and then let them loose because they're just so damn young. I don't know if the Packers have anyone over 30 on their team. It's nuts. Their whole offense was kids. And they were balling by the end of the year. They turned it around. The Seahawks feel like they're in that kind of mode where they think it's not that they don't think that they can contend. They just think that they can do it with some young guys, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Just get the young guys, though. I don't see the pass rush group is pretty young. Defensive tackles are not, but not really. But they got some young guys there too. Cam Young, Mike Morris, Miles Adams. So they got it. But yeah, corners are pretty young. Offensive line is pretty young. So they're doing okay. I think they only have one receiver over 30, which is Tyler. So no, I don't think it's a rebuild. I just think they're building in a way that they, not tearing it down to the studs, but almost getting to starting from scratch, but not necessarily starting over, if that makes sense. Like they're tearing it down a little bit, but still plan on contending.
Roger Vanu, the signing we like the most. Which new player will have the biggest impact, and a player that could surprise us?
All right, you go first.
The signing
I have one I like the most, so you might.
It's Leonard Williams for me. That's the easiest one. I'll just go. Leonard Williams is like check, cool. Which new player will have the biggest impact? Well, I mean, my goodness, I don't know anything much about Nick Harris other than he was a former UW standout.
Mm-hmm.
He will compete with Olu on the center role, assuming Olu takes the next step. Okay, so Farrell Brown, Mike said he had 24 catches. I don't see that really.
No, it wasn't that many. It was low. It was in the teens. It was in the teens. Whatever.
My bad. Okay, I misheard
13 catches maybe.
Okay, so I don't think Noah Fant is back, and he's gonna, as Mike mentioned, he's really talented, so he's gonna get, he's gonna get his targets. George Fant, come on back. So yeah, this is a tough one. I'll just go with Rayshawn Jenkins. He is probably, as Mike alluded to, he's good at a lot of things. So maybe him being good at a lot of things will pop, and that will be a new player that has a really big impact over the other guys that I've named. To be fair, the Seahawks aren't done yet. We just picked this day because they've done a lot. So we'll see. Maybe there's another player. So ask this again maybe in the towards preseason or something? Like who's one guy before the season start that we think could have the biggest impact? One that could surprise, maybe it is Farrell. I don't know. He could. I honestly don't know. George Fant, maybe. So between George Fant and Noah, I mean not Noah, George Fant and Farrell Brown. Those are the two guys I would say that could surprise.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get much surprises here. I mean, it's an underwhelming free agent haul. And not that we're surprised by that, but it is. It's not really much. I do think that Jenkins is gonna make some splash plays for sure. He knows how to get around the ball. He does. He does that really well from what I've seen. Again, it feels like sometimes when I watch him, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like Jamal with dreads. This is a little just ball of energy just everywhere. He's really, really fired up dude. And you just think he's not having an impact in the game, and next thing you know, bang, interception, bang, big PBU. Like he makes plays. Yeah, it just reminds me of Julian also a little bit too, where it's just like, yeah, just good at a bunch of things. I don't have it. The only thing I guess I can answer in that question is I do like bringing Noah back, and I talked about why. I just think that, man, if you use Noah right, particularly in the red zone, Chris, did you know that Noah had 2 red zone targets last year? 2. He played every game. He got hurt pretty early in the last game. But either way, let's say 16 games. Let's just throw out the finale. 2. And he didn't get the second one until the Steelers game. And that was the Steelers game is his only target in the red zone. And that's in the end zone, like where his feet were in the end zone.
The crazy part is I just did remember 2 plays of Kobe Parkinson in his red zone. He had one that was a touchdown and one that went incomplete against the Bengals.
Yeah, yes, you're right. Kobe had more. I forget his number, but my point
that's my point. It was like, dang, Kobe was the backup. I guess him and Will were like technically sharing because Will would be in there. He just wouldn't get targets because they run the football. But to your point, Noah's that dude, and
he can be
talented.
Yeah, and it just that's criminal. 1 target. I'm surprised he signed back. Well, I guess he's the number 1 guy now, but that would have made me pissed for real to be like, oh, I'm like that for real, man. So I'm glad that Noah is back as the unquestioned number 1 guy, because like if you use him right, even if it's just in the end zone, throw the ball in the end zone. He's going to catch it. He has good hands. I feel like that's going to make a world of difference. So I do like bringing him back as the guy.
This one comes from @SPortal Fantasy. Has the free agent signings changed opinions of what they'll do on draft day at 16?
This is a good question, and I like this one because I do think I'm in like the minority here, where I'm not against. I'm actually still in favor of a pass rusher. I am, particularly on the edge, because right now, Chris, I really feel like, for one, you can never have too many pass rushers. So there's that. Like I feel like if you got like 5 dudes, great, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You look at some of the best teams in the league over the last couple of years. They're teams that get to the passer. You need that, and they can do it without blitzing. If they do blitz, like the Ravens or something, that's cool too. But if they can just rush, like that Eagles team that had 70 sacks, whoo, special stuff. And I think to get to that place, you need a high ceiling guy. I feel like right now the group has a really high floor. Like I bet you Boye, as long as he's healthy, he probably never has fewer than like 4.5 sacks for the rest of his prime athletic years, because that's just the type of guy he is. Same thing with Chenna. Chenna's probably not going to go under 4.5 in any season where he's fully healthy. The same thing is probably DT is probably like that too. I think Daryl has had at least 4.5 every year he's played. Like so, and Derek Hall will probably get there once he just learns how to just run through guys because he's strong as heck. Like I feel like their floor is high. That's a high floor group. But I don't really know if any of those guys are like 10 sack guys. Maybe they get there on like the last week of the season. They get like 10.5 or something like that. But they're all just like, again, guys who are good. If you get a dude at 16 who's like that, and I mean like what Frank was, what Cliff was, even what Chris Clemens was, like they've had it. They've had it here. And what other guys are too. I mean, Khalil Mack at age 57 just had like 17 sacks. Jesus Christ. But seeing what Max Crosby or Bosa's or JJ, or I keep saying JJ, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Michael Parsons, even Hassan Reddick. I know they got trying to trade him, but still, Brian Burns, even Kayvon Thibodeau, he's coming along too as an edge guy. Aiden Hutchinson. There's these guys who I feel like they're ceiling. These are ceiling guys to me, particularly like in terms of the young dudes, particularly Kayvon. Actually, him and Aiden, really high ceiling guys. I think that right now it may look like they need to take a safety at 16. They need to take a linebacker. They need to take a guard. I hear you. It does feel that way, but I'm still of the position where if like you think that Jared Verse from Florida State is like that, you think that Polynesian brother from UCLA, the pass rusher, is like that. If you Dallas Turner, the kid from Bama, the edge rusher, if he falls to you, if you feel like he's like that for real, I say go get him. I say go get any of those. If you think they're that. If you don't, then it's whatever. But I still like the idea of raising the ceiling, because when your ceiling on your edge rush group is high, dog, it just changes the whole trajectory of your team. Like, I don't think the Giants will be any good, but you telling me you got Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Brian Burns, I'm going to think you're going to be nice, at least up front. I don't know what they're doing on the back end, but up front, like, I like that. The ceiling is high there. So I think the Seahawks should raise their ceiling on the edge group at 16 if there's someone who they consider to be like that. I don't think they should pass up on someone like that. Like, if you think Jared Verse, for example, is like, all right, that's a 10-sack dude, but we don't have any linebackers, so let's take a linebacker. No, don't do that. Just take that guy. Take him. I think you should take the pass rusher. Or if you feel like a defensive tackle is like that too, like this is a Jalen Carter type we're about to get at 16 or whatever, take that dude too, even though you have Jay Reed, you got Leonard, you got Draymond. Take them. So that's kind of where I am with is 16 after free agency. Like Chris said, it's not over, but I feel like that's they should be targeting that, like a premier position if it falls. Same thing with a corner, for what it's worth. If you feel like a corner is like that for real, take them. Even, this is going to sound real crazy, even if a receiver is there, and you think he's like that for real, like you think, hey man, this dude might be better than DK, well, take him. Just try to make the team, raise the ceiling on your group as best as you can. The only position I kind of don't feel that way about is probably quarterback, because that guy's probably not going to help you in 2023. But any of those other positions, yeah, receiver's a little bit of a reach, but you guys get what I'm saying. Take the best player if you think that guy's elite. Don't LJ Collier yourselves. You know what I mean? Pushing somebody up the board because we don't have insert position, so we got to take that guy. Don't do that. That'll get you fired. You're welcome, John. That's my free advice on the show.
Adam the Redhead, what current roster hole do you expect to fill with remaining free agents versus the draft?
Yeah, I think they got to get one of these linebackers, man. I really think they do. I haven't watched a ton of him. I did in January. I got to go back. But I just remember that kid from Buffalo, man, the Dotson kid. I liked him. I really liked Tranquil, too. When he re-signed, I was like, yeah, that was smart. Good thing about the Chiefs. I liked that. I liked him.
Drew.
Yeah, man. Holding it down over there. I like the Chiefs linebackers were just really fun to watch in the playoffs. I know the offense gets a lot of the discussion because they have Mahomes, but L'Jarius Sneed, like that for real. Jalen Watson, go Cougs. McDuffie, he's like that as well. I'm not big on their safety group, but yeah, up front, Bolton, Gay, Tranquil, yeah, man, I'm with that. Same thing with Buffalo. So I would think linebacker. I watched a little bit of Devin White last year. Yeah, if he's out there, go get him too. But I think you have to. I don't think you can go into the draft with Drake Thomas, Patrick O'Connell, whoever else they have. Yeah, Radigan. That's how you get fired. Or maybe not fired because everybody just got here, but that's how you get into position where you're at 16 and your coaching staff is like, hey, John, we could sure use a linebacker right now. Take a kid from Michigan. I think his name's Junior. Junior probably going to be a good linebacker. But if you feel like you're reaching for him at 16, when you maybe could have traded back or something like that, or maybe he's there in the third round, or you think you could trade up in the second round, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You guys get what I'm saying. No, I don't think you should push no one up the board. So to avoid doing that, please sign a linebacker. Please. That's all I'm asking.
This one comes from Ziggy Not Nice. Going from what you said regarding how agents have to deal with management, the Seahawks management that is, when it comes to contracts. Are the Seahawks known as a cheap team when it comes to signing players? And also, how do teams see our owner? One who wants to win or one who just wants dollars? And the owner is, for those who don't know, what's her name, Mike?
Jody Allen.
So
yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I remember when I did a story on Matt Thomas, who's their salary cap guy. This was a few years ago now. But I talked to a lot of people who negotiated with him. I think I mentioned this on last week's show, or last show we did too. I don't know about cheap team, because it seems like a lot of people had respect for Matt Thomas and how he handles his business and how he negotiates and everything. And the Seahawks kind of have a way about how they do stuff. They have if you notice, a lot of the contracts have hey, after the 5th day of this bonus kicks in, and this deferred bonus is in this contract, and they usually don't have a lot of guaranteed money after year 1, at least right at signing. They have a structure that they stick to. A lot of teams have that. The Colts, Steelers, Packers, teams that consistently have the same front offices, they tend to have those things and they stick to them, maybe making exceptions for quarterbacks. It's usually about it. So well-respected team in that regard. A lot of agents have really good relationships with John, is what I've learned. I haven't talked to every agent, of course, but most of the people I talk to have pretty good relationships with John. He's pretty straightforward. And yeah, they know hey, Seattle's probably only going to go to this point. Once it gets to this bidding war, my guy's going to have to get the bag somewhere else. Not to say John's just loved by everyone in the league, but there seems to be a great deal of respect for him. He's not the only one. But I think Seattle's respected in that regard, particularly Matt Thomas. The people who have dealt with him directly for years and years and years, whether with I think he was with the Dolphins for a little bit, maybe Browns too. He's been with a few different organizations. Everyone who's dealt with him, even think Mike Holmgren has talked about this on the radio, KJR. He's respectable dude, smart guy. Was one of the earlier salary cap guys to really embrace analytics and advanced stuff when talking things like that. So no, I mean teams are in contact with Seattle about their guys, but yeah, there's just seems like there's a little bit of reputation around the league is if you got one of them top guys, if he goes to Seattle, it's probably gonna have to be in a trade. I don't think that who was a top guy this year, Chris? Let me think. Who was a top free agent dude at a position? I can't even think off the top of my head. Yeah, there wasn't a lot. Yeah, did a D lineman get paid? Who was the D lineman that got really paid? Daniil Hunter. Daniil Hunter got back. I think Houston. I'm sure Daniil Hunter's people were we can't call the Seahawks, man. They're not giving us that. It kind of is what it is, which is not bad. Because you just kind of have, they probably know they couldn't have called Dallas either. Dallas don't sign nobody. No, they probably couldn't have called the Packers. There's just some teams who are like that, who aren't big, cash out on external free agent guys. And I think the Seahawks are just in that boat, but the Seahawks are still perceived as a team that wants to win for sure. And just a well-run organization, generally speaking, competent, consistent ownership, good relationships. John's really a big relationships guy around the league. So again, there's a million agents. I can only talk to so many, right? And I usually only talk to the ones that have Seahawks clients. So there's that. But generally speaking, when I'm out there schmoozing, talking to people have good things to say about John, about Matt, and Pete too. But John and Matt, who do most of the negotiating for the Seahawks.
And that last part, do you think Jody wants to win, or is she just all about the dollars?
Oh, no. I think she wants to win. I think she just trusts John's vision for how to do that, because she's seen John do it before. It was hey, I trust you to go out there and win. If you think this Mike McDonald guy is going to help us win, cool. If you think we got to get rid of Pete to win, all right, Pete got to go. If you think we got to sign this guy or not sign that guy, I think there's a lot of trust in John. And yeah, John's built. There's only one championship in the building, and John, there's a picture of John holding it. And so if she wants to give him the benefit of the doubt for that, I can't really fault her entirely. I can a little bit, but looking at it from her view as a non-football person, I can see if you're just hey, this John guy that we've hired for over a decade seems to know what he's talking about, so I'm going to listen to him. I can see how a non-football person, billionaire, would just be yes, my brother trusted this guy. I trust this guy. that's the kind of I don't get to talk to Jody ever. I don't even know what her voice sounds like, but I can just imagine that that's her viewpoint on it. I trust John. I'm hiring John. He's done this before. He lays out A, B, and C. This is going to be our plan, and he says this is how he's going to execute it. So I'm gonna trust him. I think that's like how Jody generally views it. And yeah, I think the Seahawks are perceived as an organization that is always trying to win.
Last one is from Eric Wall. Who do you think will be the first member of the Seahawks Super Bowl team inducted into the Hall of Fame?
Ooh, this is a fun one. Can I before we close answer this one? I just got the Rayshon Jenkins numbers. These are looks like it's from ESPN. It's 12 million over 2 years.
Wow, 6 a year. All right.
It's basically the Julian Love deal. I think that's almost exactly the same as Julian Love. So they had a budget for safeties, pretty much. Came here and told guys, we're not going to pay you more than our guy who just made the Pro Bowl. Seems like, hey, which is not like, would it be guess 7 mil, the Darnell Savage? So this checks in just less. So yeah, that sounds about right. That's a decent deal. It's a lot less than that's about half per year than what Quandre was making. I think he was at 13. So if they think, even if they think he's half as good, which I don't think they think that, they probably think he's like 75% as good as Quandre for half the price.
Yeah.
Maybe he is. Again, I think he's a good player. He's good at a bunch of stuff. Your defense is probably just going to be good. Whatever. It's been bad before, so good is an upgrade. I'm not even necessarily disagreeing on that. Sorry. I wanted to throw that out there. Can you reread that question to me real quick?
Yeah. Matt Wall was just curious, who do we think from that Super Bowl team, championship team that won it all, who was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame first?
I think since he stopped playing the earliest, I don't think Cam gets in. Unfortunately, I just don't. I don't think he's got the numbers. I don't know how Hall of Fame voters feel about him. I think it's gonna be real tough for him to get in. Earl, though, I think should get in. I think I talked to some people about this because he's eligible next. I think February is when the list comes out or something. Earl's next. I think Earl's going to get in. Earl has had, off the field, a very tough time post-football. What I think is going to work in Earl's favor, on top of him just having the numbers, the All-Pros, the Pro Bowls, the big moments, the part of a legendary defense, all that works in his favor. But also, he went away from Seattle and was still good. Went to Baltimore and made the Pro Bowl off a broken leg in a new system, just like that. And his team got the 1 seed, like on the best defense or one of the best defenses in the league that year. So I think that works in his favor. Yes, then he punched Chuck Clark, got kicked off that team, and then went downhill from there. However, every time we've seen Earl on the field, he's been good. Some Hall of Famers towards the end is like we gotta have to forget that last year or two, like Julio Jones, for instance. We just got to forget he ever played for like the Bucks and the Titans. We just have to. Let's just forget that. But with Earl, we don't have to do that. We can just look at literally from the minute Earl stepped on the field to the last snap with the Ravens. I know he got stiff armed by Derrick Henry, but still, that's Derrick Henry. It's another Hall of Famer, right? That happens. But like literally every time Earl played, maybe just I guess if you want to discount his rookie year, where he's a rookie, obviously, every season after that, he was legitimately one of the best safeties in football. Like I'm looking at his page right now. So he didn't make the Pro Bowl as a rookie, obviously, but he had 5 picks that year too, which is nuts. Then he was second team All-Pro, Pro Bowl, first team All-Pro, Pro Bowl, third in Defensive Player of the Year voting in year 4, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, 2014 Pro Bowl, All-Pro, 2015 Pro Bowl, 2016 broke his leg late in the year, so didn't get only played 11 games. The very next year, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, second team. The next year, broke his leg again, only played 4 games. And then the next season came right back, Pro Bowl again. So unless Earl breaks his leg or isn't old enough to drink, which I don't think he was that first year. So unless he is a minor or breaks his leg, he's one of the best safeties in football. That's a decade. That's a decade-long career. I think he will get in. I think all the stuff that happens off the field won't matter as much because it won't be like Russ needs to play his way back in, I think, because we've seen Russ look pretty bad. We never saw Earl be bad at football. So I think that gets him in.
That's a tough one because Bobby ain't gonna be eligible. So yeah, it might be that he gets in first. Now that I think about it, that's an interesting one.
Sherm will be up in a few years. Marshawn, I forget when Marshawn retired last.
He might still.
He's done it twice now. Yeah, I can't remember. I think he's the same year as Earl. So I think if Earl's up, Marshawn's up. But I think Earl's in. I think Earl should be a lock, man. He's like.
So I will defer and go different. I will go Marshawn. I think he will be the first one inducted. I think it's Marshawn. He's electrifying. Dude is. I know it's more so on the field, but the numbers speak for themselves and his impact. There's a reason why the Seahawks were like, damn, we need running backs. Marshawn, do you want to come run again? There is no hesitation, and we know what type of runner he is. Ken Walker resembles some of that. Zach Charbonnet also resembles some of that. So Marshawn Lynch laid the foundation of what the Seahawks have been trying to get since he's been gone. So I will take Marshawn from that Super Bowl winning team that will be inducted first.
Yeah, no, I think on the flip side of the Earl thing, Marshawn's off-field likability is going to work hugely in his favor. Everybody loves Marshawn.
Yeah, that's another thing.
He's like the most marketable athlete ever. You can find him anywhere and riding camels in Dubai, talking to Dr. Fauci, playing kickball with kids. You know, like he just does everything with anyone in any country. For real. He rides bikes in England. He was at the celebrity hockey game in like Toronto. Like, he just does everything. I think he's just going to get in. Can I close on a quick story?
Yeah.
So I think last show we talked about how my packages got stolen. I was really upset about that. So the company that I ordered them from, they were like, oh, dang, your package got stolen. That sucks. We'll just send it out to you for free.
Oh, nice.
We're sorry. It came today. That was great. I was really happy about it. It made my day.
Oh.
And then when I was trying on what I ordered, I got a call from my leasing office, and they were like, "Hey, you have a package that went to one of your neighbors, and they brought it to the office.
That's
so
what
can
happened.
you come get it?" So I don't really know if that's actually true. I don't really care. I say that to bring up. So now I have it. I have two of what I ordered, and so basically I got one of them for free. So I had a really good day today. I just want to, since we brought that up on the last show, I wanted to throw that out there again. I got a resolution to that. Mike's packages that got robbed got brought back, which is great. So now I have it. Like I said, just got it for free, basically. So I wanted to close with that. That's some good news to close the show.
Well, look at that. Great news to close the show. It's been another episode of Seahawks Man to Man. We thank every single one of you for subscribing, listening, watching. We appreciate all the love and support. And if you are listening and you haven't subscribed, go on and do us a favor. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers. We're about 600 away. Hook us up. Yeah, we're climbing. So go ahead. Just be like, fine, I'll go subscribe. Because, yes, we're going to be adding more videos, more visuals, working on shorts, doing all this fun stuff. So come enjoy the Seahawks Man to Man on YouTube as well. We appreciate it. Mike, is there anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Thank you for the love and support. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back again soon. I'm sure we'll hear from the free agents and all that at some point, either virtually or in person. Until then, peace.